Beowulf, translated by Lesslie Hall. Book 25. Beowulf brings his trophies. Hrothgar's gratitude. Beowulf spake, offspring of Ecgtheow. Lo, we blithely have brought thee, bairn of Halfdene, prince of the Scyldings, these presents from ocean which thine eye looketh on, for an emblem of glory. I came off alive from this, narrowly scaping. In war 'neath the water, the work with great pains I performed, and the fight had been finished quite nearly, had God not defended me. I failed in the battle aught to accomplish, aided by Hrunting, though that weapon was worthy, but the wielder of earthfolk gave me willingly to see on a wall a heavy old hand-sword hanging in splendour. He guided most often the lorn and the friendless, that I swung as a weapon. The wards of the house then I killed in the conflict, when occasion was given me. Then the battle-sword burned, the brand that was lifted, as the blood-current sprang, hottest of war-sweats. Seizing the hilt from my foes I upbore it, I avenged as I ought to their acts of malignity, the murder of Danemen. I then make thee this promise: thou'lt be able in Heorot careless to slumber with thy throng of heroes and the thanes of thy people, every and each of greater and lesser, and thou needest not fear for them from the selfsame direction as thou formerly fearedest. O folk-lord of Scyldings, Ende for the earlman, to the age-hoary man then, the grey-haired chieftain, the gold-fashioned sword-hilt, old work of giants, was thereupon given. Since the fall of the fiends, it fell to the keeping of the wielder of Danemen, the wonder-smith's labour, and the bad-mooded, being abandoned this world then, opponent of God, victim of murder, and also his mother, it went to the keeping of the best of the world-kings, where waters encircle, who the Scot divided in Scylding dominion. Hrothgar discoursed, the hilt he regarded, the ancient heirloom wherein old-time contentions beginning was graven. The gurgling currents, the flood slew thereafter the race of the giants. They had proved themselves daring, that people was loth to the Lord everlasting. Through lash of the billows the Father gave them final requital. So in letters of rune on the clasp of the handle, gleaming and golden, 'twas graven exactly, set forth and said, whom that sword had been made for, finest of irons, who first it was wrought for. Wreathed at its handle and gleaming were serpents. The wise one then said, silent they all were, son of old Halfdene, he may say unrefuted who performs mid the folkmen fairness and truth. The hoary old ruler remembers the past, that better by birth is this bairn of the nobles. Thy fame is extended through far-away countries, good friend Beowulf, o'er all of the races. Thou holdest all firmly, hero-like strength with prudence of spirit. I'll prove myself grateful as before we agreed on. Thou granted for long shalt become a great comfort to kinsmen and comrades, a help unto heroes. Hermod became not such to the Scyldings, successors of Aquila. He grew not to please them, but grievous destruction, and diresome death-woes to the Danemen attracted. He slew in anger his table companions, trustworthy counsellors, till he turned off lonely from world joys away, wide-famous ruler. Though high-ruling heaven in hero strength raised him, in might exalted him, O'er men of all nations made him supreme. Yet a murderous spirit grew in his bosom. He gave then no ring gems to the Danes after custom. Endured he unjoyful, standing the straits from strife that was raging, longsome folk sorrow. Learn then from this, lay hold of virtue. Though laden with winters, I have sung thee these measures. 'Tis a marvel to tell it, how all-ruling God from greatness of spirit giveth wisdom to children of men. Manor and earlship, all things he ruleth. He often permitteth the mood thought of man of the illustrious lineage to lean to possessions, allows him earthly delights at his manor, a high burg of heroes to hold in his keeping, maketh portions of earth folk hear him, and a wide-reaching kingdom, so that, wisdom failing him, he himself is unable to reckon its boundaries. He liveth in luxury, little debars him, nor sickness nor age, no treachery sorrow becloudeth his spirit, conflict nowhere. No sword hate appeareth, but all of the world doth wend as he wisheth. The worse he knoweth not, till arrant arrogance inward pervading, waxeth and springeth, when the warder is sleeping, the guard of the soul, with sorrows encompassed. Too sound is his slumber, the slayer is near him, who with bow and arrow aimeth in malice. Book 26. Hrothgar moralizes. Rest after labour. Then bruised in his bosom, he with bitter-toothed missile is hurt neath his helmet. From harmful pollution he is powerless to shield him by the wonderful mandates of the loath-cursed spirit. What too long he hath holden, him seemeth too small. Savage he hoardeth, nor boastfully given, gold-plated rings. The fate of the future flouts and forgetteth, since God had erst given him greatness no little, wielder of glory. His end day anear, it afterward happens that the bodily dwelling fleetingly fadeth, falls into ruins. Another lays hold who doleth the ornaments, the nobleman's jewels, nothing lamenting, heedeth no terror. O Beowulf dear, best of the heroes, from bale-strife defend thee, and choose thee the better, counsels eternal. Beware of arrogance, world-famous champion. But a little while lasts thy life-vigor's fullness. 'Twill after hap early, that illness or sword-edge shall part thee from strength, or the grasp of the fire, or the wave of the current, or the clutch of the edges, or the flight of the war-spear, or age with its horrors, or thine eyes bright flashing shall fade into darkness. 'Twill happen full early, excellent hero, that death shall subdue thee. So the Danes a half-century I held under heaven, helped them in struggles gainst many a race in Middle-earth's regions. With ashwood and edges, that enemy none on earth molested me. Lo, a setting change now came to my manner, grief after joyance, when Grendel became my constant visitor, inveterate hater. I from that malice continually travailed with trouble no little. Thanks be to God that I gained in my lifetime, to the Lord everlasting, to look on the gory head with mine eyes, after long-lasting sorrow. Go to the bench now, battle adorned, joy in the feasting. Of jewels in common we'll meet with many when morning appeareth. The Geatman was gladsome, ganged he immediately to go to the bench, as the clever one bade him. Then again as before were the famous for prowess, hall inhabiters handsomely banqueted, feasted anew. The night veil fell then dark o'er the warriors. The courtiers rose then. The grey-haired was anxious to go to his slumbers. The hoary old Scylding hankered the Geatman, the champion doughty, greatly to rest him. And earlman early outward did lead him, fagged from his faring, from far country springing, who for etiquette's sake all of a liegeman's needs regarded, such as seamen at that time were bounden to feel. The big-hearted rested, the building uptowered, spacious and gilded. The guest within slumbered, till the sable-clad raven blithely foreboded the beacon of heaven. Then the bright shining sun o'er the bottoms came going. The warriors hastened. The heads of the peoples were ready to go again to their peoples. The high-mooded farer would far away thenceward look for his vessel. The valiant one bade then, offspring of Ecglaf, off to bear hunting, to take his weapon, his well-beloved iron. He thanked for the gift, saying good he accounted the war-friend and mighty, nor chid he with words then the blade of the brand. 'Twas a brave-mooded hero. When the warriors were ready, arrayed in their trappings, the atheling dear to the Danemen advanced then on to the dais, where the other was sitting. Grim-mooded hero greeted King Hrothgar.